Today we are comparing ratio relationships. Okay, let's take a look at this first type of problem. Juice brand A advertises that it has 10 oranges in its 24-ounce juice carton. The advertised ratio of the number of oranges to ounces of two other juice brands are shown in the table and the graph. Which brand advertises the greatest ratio of oranges to ounces of juice? Okay, so we're looking at oranges to ounces of juice. All right, and then justify your response. So there are several ways that you can attempt a problem like this. What I'm going to do in this first problem is I'm going to use the graph for all of the brands. Okay, so brand C is already graphed on the chart and it's got, um, let's say, 6 ounces is 4 oranges, 8 oranges in 12 ounces, 12 oranges in 18 ounces, and so forth. Okay, we can see that. Juice brand A, I'm going to use blue here. Okay, so I'm going to circle that in blue, is 10 oranges in 24. Okay, so for 24 ounces, they use 10 oranges. I'm going to plot that right here, which means if we keep that ratio of oranges to juice, 10 and 24, okay, that's going to be 5 for 12. So 12 ounces is going to have 5 oranges. Plot that point right there. Okay, so and then it's going to also have 0 for 0. Okay, so you can kind of see that ratio there. And then I'm going to draw a line through C. Right here, we can kind of see that. Okay, and then brand B, I'm going to go ahead and use green. Okay, brand B had 3 oranges for 8 ounces. So 8 ounces had 3 here. And then 6 oranges was 16 ounces here. 16 ounces was 6. 9 oranges at 24. Okay, so that was really close to this bottom one here. Okay, but little less. So we notice all 3 of them actually have dots here at the 24. And you can see that with 24 as the denominator, 10 over oh, here, actually, let's do this. Let's do 9 over 24 is the brand B, and then brand A was 10 over 24, and brand C was 16 for 24. So the brand that has the greatest ratio of oranges to ounces of juice is going to be brand C because for 24 ounces it has the most oranges. Okay, so that's kind of how I am using that in order to solve that type of problem. I'm going to use that graph and find where they all have something in common. Okay, so that's one option. All right, now let's look at number 2 together here. Layla's Smoothies advertise that it has 3 grams of protein in its 6-ounce smoothie. Okay, the advertised ratios of the number of grams of protein to the number of ounces of smoothie for 2 other smoothie brands are shown in the table and the graph. Which brand advertises the greatest ratio of grams of protein to ounces of smoothie? Okay. Now, for this one, let's see here. So we've got 3 grams for 6 ounces. 3 grams of protein, all right, for 6 ounces. All right. Now, let's see here. Okay, so this table here, we've got 6 grams of protein uh, for 2 ounces of smoothie. Look, this one also has a 6 here. Okay, so we can use that ratio. All right, 18 grams of protein for 6 ounces. Wow, that one has a lot more grams of protein than Layla's smoothies for the same amount. And then this one for a 6 ounce, it actually does have a spot there. It has 9. It's directly between the 8 and the 10. So it's going to have 9 grams of protein for 6 ounces. Okay. So again, finding a ratio where they're all the same. Now, if I wanted to find my grams per 1 ounce, I could divide these. 3 divided by 6, and I'm going to get 0.5 grams per 1 ounce of smoothie for this one. And for the power smoothie, I'm actually going to get 3 grams per 1 ounce of smoothie. Okay, 18 divided by 6 is 3. Okay, 3 grams per ounce. And for this one, I'm going to get actually 1.5 grams per 1 ounce because 9 divided by 6 is 1.5. Okay, so I could also reduce these fractions or these ratios to a per one. This is called a unit rate. Okay, a unit rate is when we look at per one of something. How many is in 1 unit of something? So this other problem that we did, this 10 divided by uh, 24, we could also find the unit rate there. That's going to give us a decimal unit rate. And so that's why I chose not to utilize a unit rate there. But these are 0.5 is a pretty easy one to use. And um, and 3 grams and 1.5 grams. Okay, but like 10 divided by 24, that would say 0.41666. So it's kind of a weird decimal. So I don't always use the unit rate, but it is very helpful when we are comparing things. Okay, there are 2 more that you can try on your own. They're using either strategy we've already talked about. Okay. One other type of problem we're going to take a look at here is number 6. At the dance studio, Selena spends her time doing sets of 2 lunges for every 5 sets of spins. Ariel spends her time doing sets of 2 lunges for every 4 spins. And Nina spends her time doing sets of 7 lunges for every 10 sets of spins. Which person has the greatest ratio of lunges to spins? Okay, so Selena had 2 lunges for 5 sets of spins. Ariel had 2 lunges for 4 sets of spins. And Nina had 7 lunges for 10 sets of spins. Okay, so we can complete our tables here. So for 4 lunges, we will have done 10, 15, 6, and 8, 20. All right, so I went up by 5 each time on the bottom and up by 2 each time on the top. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, which is going to be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And Nina had 7, 14, 21, 10, 20, 30. Okay, now for each of these, the ones we have in common, I see 8 out of 20, 10 out of 20, and 14 out of 20. Okay, so it says which person has the greatest ratio of lunges to spins? So the largest amount of lunges for each amount of spins. So Nina is going to have the largest. See 8, 10, and 14. So Nina has the greatest ratio there. So we use that table in order to, again, find the one that they have in common, okay, to compare those. All right. And there are 2 more that you can try on your own like that.